What's up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. I'm so excited to be here. It's been a while since we've done this, and I'm ready. I'm ready to read you guys this stuff. This amazing, amazing stuff. Hello. How's everybody doing? Where are you tuning in from? Regional fun facts. What's the distillation of your soul? I don't know. Tell me what's up. How do we do this? Hello. Now, Instagram has just informed me that my countdown for Storytime Livestream is almost over. It's over. Because story time is now. Hello, everyone. Norway, it's raining in Norway. It's gonna rain here today. That's why it looks kind of. I have so many lamps on and lighting fixtures, and it's still really dreary in here because it's gonna rain. I think it's gonna rain. These are good. It's legal to try to break out of prison because it's a natural instinct. That's incredible. Oh, Alex and JD are here. What's up? Thank you. I also like my glasses. They're my blue light glasses. Highly recommend. Honestly. Highly recommend. Do you guys see my shirt? I didn't want to lift myself up any further than that. I'm wearing my All Wizards Are Gay shirt today. Happy Pride. I've also got some more rainbow shit in the background. I didn't do that on purpose, but there it is. You guys. What a time to be alive. I'm so happy that you're all here and all so wonderful. You listened to 5 episodes in one day. That's a lot of content. I hope that it brought you some joy. I have a secret to tell you guys. I don't really listen to podcasts. But I've been listening to more podcasts lately because I live right here and I hang out right here and I work right here. So I've been listening to more podcasts lately. I am happy you think my hair looks cool because I think it's getting out of control. I usually get my hair cut every 3 weeks because I'm bougie as fuck. But it's now been several months. It's long. You should make Kim show you hers, though. She's looking real Daniel Radcliffe circa movie 4. Yeah, okay, so I listen to Sorted, but only when I know the thing that you guys are doing. I don't always know the people you guys are sorting, so then I don't listen to those ones because I don't know what's going on. I have a sleep podcast. It's interesting that you put on our podcast to go to sleep because I feel like we scream a lot, and maybe that's not for some people that's not as conducive to falling asleep. But I have a sleep podcast that I listen to every night to fall asleep. Harry Potter and the Year of No One Got Haircuts. Yeah, I mean, there was a time when I was like, I'm going to grow my hair out. And then I was like, that's just too hard. So maybe it just is going to happen now because I refuse to go get my hair cut because I don't have to. And I'm not going to leave my house. I don't have to. And if I am going to leave my house, I'm going to wear a mask. Everyone, I really hope in our wonderful little community here that you guys are wearing masks when you leave your house. Please. For the love of God. Well, I don't know. Should we get started now? It's about that time. It's about that time. Yeah, movie 4, everyone's hair looked fucking wild. What were the choices being made? Who was doing that? You're gonna go run 7 miles? Okay, listen, you guys. Ugh. Okay, I think I might. It's 1:05. I usually wait roughly 5 minutes before we get started. I'm not sure I have either author here today. I know that the second author is not here, but I don't think I've seen the first author either. Say Adam. You haven't been out of your house since March? That's a lot. That's a lot. I've been to the grocery store. We went to the park and sat distanced from some of our friends the other day, but we're spiking real hard here. So not leaving the house is generally what we do. I'm re-binging TV shows that I've already seen because I'm trash. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. Remember, in the chat here, I am watching Avatar for the first time. Thank you for that reminder. I am watching Avatar for the first time. Everything else is a rewatch experience, but I'm watching Avatar for the first time and I like it a lot. I'm just about to start book 3. Yeah. Avatar is great. Also, we binged all of Love, Victor the other day, which is a Love, Simon fan fiction. Basically, it's very good. Go do that thing. Okay. Let's do this. Remember in the chat to be nice because these stories were written by your friends here in this community. And I'm going to go ahead and start now. You can keep talking about Avatar in the chat, though, if you feel that way. Okay, I am going to start today with a story called The Case of the Unexpected Hoof by the_claw. All right, here we go. The unexpected hoof. What the fuck? Harry yelled, looking down at what he expected to be his foot. Ron and Hermione quickly followed his gaze. Is that a hoof? Asked Hermione. It sure fucking looks like one, Harry responded, still yelling. It feels like one too. Did that just appear? Yeah, I've been feeling a tingling feeling in my foot for the past minute. I just assumed it was asleep, but then all of a sudden it felt really heavy. He pulled his pajama pants a few inches. Oh, look, I'm all horse from the knee down. Isn't that just perfect? What have Fred and George been inventing now? Laughed Ron. Oi! Ron raised his voice to grab the attention of Fred, George, and Lee, who were all sitting on the other side of the common room playing Exploding Snap. What did you give Harry? What are you talking about? Asked Fred, looking up from the cards. Harry spoke up before Ron could explain. I haven't eaten anything since dinner. Don't their candies normally work quicker? Harry's right. No one wants to have to wait for results. Besides, we've been testing anything new. We haven't been testing anything new for the past few days, said George. Though, now I've got some ideas. Fred, what about a tart that... A card exploded in his face before he could finish. Hermione sighed in exasperation, clearly not believing them. Fine, don't help Harry then. She turned back to Harry and Ron. How irresponsible of them! I can't see what else would cause you to grow a hoof in place of a foot, Harry. But if they're not going to help you, let's go see Madame Pomfrey. After Ron and Hermione walked with Harry to the hospital wing, Madame Pomfrey poked and prodded the hoof with her wand while muttering incantations under her breath. She asked the three of them plenty of questions. She then sent Ron and Hermione away and had been staring intently at Harry's leg without a word for the past 5 minutes. Finally, she spoke. I've never seen anything like this before. It's not just a transfiguration gone wrong. You say you haven't eaten anything since dinner, and you and your friends have assured me you are not attempting to become an animagus. Madame Pomfrey knit her brow and looked at Harry's hoof foot the same way someone would look at a stubborn stain on their robes. Did you eat anything other than the food provided from the kitchens today? Is Professor Flitwick or Professor Snape teaching anything unusual in their classes? No and no. Harry considered this for a moment and then said with a surprised look on his face, Snape hasn't tried to poison me in a whole 2 weeks. It's actually quite unusual. Is it causing pain or discomfort? No pain, but I haven't gotten used to walking on a hoof yet. Well, if that's your only complaint, we'll wait a day and see if the magic wears off. Oh, great. Malfoy really needs more fuel for the Torture Harry fire. You'll survive. Return here tomorrow after class. It was dinner time when Harry left the hospital wing. He awkwardly limped into the dining hall, still unsure how to balance given his recent lack of toes. Injured yourself from falling off a broom again, Potter. Harry whirled around to the Slytherin table and saw Malfoy smirking at him. At least I actually practice flying while you just rely on your expensive broom, Harry retorted. Malfoy's smirk stayed level as he glared at Harry. At least I have a father to buy me brooms. Oh, fuck off, Malfoy, yelled Hermione. Harry, just ignore him. Harry didn't have the energy for more Malfoy cheap shots at the moment and sat down next to Ron and Hermione with a sigh. This hoof better go away soon. On the bright side, if your entire leg becomes a horse leg, you'll probably have the muscle to be able to kill Malfoy with a single kick, said Ron. Harry smiled and gulped down his pumpkin juice. My evening just got so much better. The next morning, Ron started awake when he heard a scream rip through the dormitory air. In the early morning light, he could see 2 horse legs. They seemed to be attached to Harry's torso and head. How odd, thought Ron, still half asleep. Harry seemed very freaked out. Ron, look. I don't know. What the fuck? I swear. This is Fred and George's fault. How long will this last? Then he lost his balance and crashed to the floor. Through bleary eyes, Ron looked around the dormitory and saw wide eyes staring at Harry from three other bed curtains. Harry, you all right? Asked Dean, uncertainly checking in. Harry's face flushed with embarrassment as he lifted himself from the floor to look back at Dean, a slight trickle of blood dripping from his nose. Go back to sleep, Dean. I'm okay. Harry pulled a robe around him, trying to cover his horse legs, and tried to walk out of the room. He promptly fell over again, this time catching himself before his face smashed into the floor. Ron jumped out of bed to help Harry stumble down the staircase and through the common room. Harry nearly kicked Ron in the head while he struggled through the portrait hole, but by the time they reached the infirmary, he could more or less walk on his own, with just one hand on Ron's shoulder for support. Harry sat down on one of the infirmary beds, letting his robes fall away from his legs. He called out to Madame Pomfrey, and she sleepily walked out from a side room, while grumbling something about how students just can't seem to injure themselves at reasonable hours. Then she saw Harry and stopped. I can see why you didn't wait until after class, Mr. Potter. Madame Pomfrey walked over to her potions cabinet. I'm still not sure what the root cause of your problem is, but I can give you a potion that will extract any traces of more minor magic from your body and flush them out. This may not solve your problem, but it can make it any worse. I expect there are more complicated magics affecting you, but this is a good first step. She then handed Harry 2 small bottles and pointed to one. Let's take this first. Why are there 2? Harry asked. Oh, the second one's for preventing diarrhea, she responded. Ron gave a little snort, trying to conceal a laugh, which Madame Pomfrey ignored. Return after class? 2 days filled with a passage of time. 2 days filled with useless treatments later, Harry was preparing to go to sleep. He looked at his bed. He looked down at himself. Then back at the bed. Back at himself. He looked down at his horse legs, then twisted around to look at the horse flank and stubby back legs he had grown since that morning in the infirmary 2 days prior. Nothing Madame Pomfrey did had worked. She had even brought in Professor McGonagall to try some transfiguration solutions. Everything was temporary, and his horse features always popped back out after a few minutes. Harry went back to staring at his bed. Okay, I can make this work, he thought. He leaped up, twisted in midair, and came crashing down onto his bed on his side. His mattress cushioned his landing, but the bed frame smashed. Ron started to laugh from where he was watching on his bed. Harry madly scrambled with all 4 legs to pull himself upright onto the floor, only making Ron laugh harder. That was dumb, Ron managed to say through his tears of laughter. I don't know how to do this. Half of my body is a horse. And not even a fully grown horse. I've got these useless, stubby back legs. Walking anywhere is a nightmare, and concealing my flank has just gotten more impossible as it's grown. Harry was starting to yell now. The invisibility cloak won't stay on it. People are stepping on my tail. Everyone in Hogwarts knows I'm growing horse parts by now, and it's not like I can wear pants to cover them up. And fucking Malfoy just makes everything worse. I don't know where he even got his hands on a camera, but he's been following me around everywhere trying to get Pansy to pull the cloak off my flank. I don't think he even goes to class anymore, and you can bet those photos will be in the Daily Prophet tomorrow. Harry breathed heavily. Ron's laughing had faded into a small chuckle. Dumbledore will know how to solve this. We'll talk to him tomorrow. Harry nodded slowly. He grabbed his wand from his bedside table and repaired his bed frame. He stared at it some more and finally said, "Fuck it." Then Harry just tucked his horse legs underneath him to curl up on the floor and laid his head down on his bed and went to sleep. Just as breakfast was starting, Filch was brought to the armory by Mrs. Norris. As he approached, he could hear loud crashes and a bang. One of the old magical cannons must have gone off. He slowed, preparing to enter carefully, when suddenly a full-grown centaur leaped over him through the doorway, swearing loudly and holding a bow, a quiver full of arrows, and a crossbow, his tail smoking. Filch had just stared as the centaur galloped off in the direction of the entrance hall. Dumbledore was sipping tea at the staff table, talking quietly with Snape. "Professor," whispered Snape, "the news is spreading. There's a picture of him in the Daily Prophet this morning. Soon the Dark Lord will know he's vulnerable." "Not to worry, Severus. Centaurs are incredibly powerful. They've helped him before. They'll help him now." "Why are you not worried about this at all?" Before Dumbledore could respond, Harry bounded into the Great Hall, a fully fledged centaur. Not only had his back legs grown to their full strength, he had also developed abs overnight and had not bothered with a shirt. A thin trail of smoke still rising from his tail, Harry nocked an arrow on his bow, pointed it at Snape, and released. Having never used a bow and arrow before, he instead hit a plate of bacon 10 feet away. Harry tossed the bow aside and instead shouldered his new crossbow, aimed, and pulled the trigger. This went slightly better as it was heading towards Snape's shoulder, but a flick of Snape's wand sent it into the leg of an unfortunate Ravenclaw. Harry flashed him the finger, waved at Ron and Hermione with a grin, and then bounded off toward the Forbidden Forest. Silence lay over the entire hall, accompanied by many open mouths. Dumbledore turned to face Snape. "I'm not worried, Severus, because I know he will be safer with the centaurs, and safer being a centaur than he could ever be under my protection. I only ever do what is best for Harry, and turning Harry into a centaur is best for him. Why else do you think I've been spiking his pumpkin juice for the past week?" The end. Dumbledore turned Harry into a centaur for his own good. I love that story a lot. It's very good. Very good. It was so full of twists and turns. Very good. Oh, man. He found the Potter family crossbow. That's a deep cut. I like that. Whoo! Very good. Very good. Thank you so much to the listener that sent that in, who wrote that for me to read so I could sit in my room and scream. So before I lose my voice, let's go ahead and do a second one. So one of our patrons missed the deadline for the writing competition, the songs one that I've been reading from lately, but decided to still write this one and send this one in for a story time experience. So here we go. This is called Unimpressed. There's a lot of singing in this story, and I am just going to talk it. But the song is Don't Impress Me Much. And here we go. Unimpressed. It was talent night at Hogwarts. Professor Dumbledore started it to try to give the students some time to relax and unwind without thinking about the war waging outside the school. This was the second week, and Ginny had decided to sing a song. She stood nervously at the front of the great hall behind a red velvet curtain. She was shuffling her feet and biting her lip, mouthing the words she was about to sing in front of the entire school. She had on a skin-tight leopard print pants with matching tube top and hooded long jacket. Her lips were bright red, and she had a black eyeliner to make her eyes pop. She also had on matching ankle boots. She took a few deep breaths as the curtain started to rise. She finally heard the first notes begin. She took one more deep breath and opened her mouth to sing. I've known a few guys who thought they were pretty smart, but you've got being right down to an art. Her voice was melodic, and she walked around the stage, swinging her hips as she sang. She focused her eyes on Michael Corner, her ex-boyfriend turned friends with benefits. You think you're a genius? You drive me up the wall. You're a regular, original, a know-it-all. She walked back to the center of the makeshift stage. She exuded confidence, even though she didn't fully feel that confident. This could go very wrong if Michael took the song the wrong way. Oh, you think you're special? Oh, you think you're something else? Okay, so you're a Ravenclaw. On the last line, Ginny stopped singing and spoke the words. Michael Corner's eyes were glued to Ginny the entire time she was singing, even though it wasn't the nicest song she could sing about him. That don't impress me much. You've got the brains, but you haven't got the touch. Don't get me wrong, yeah, I think you're all right, but that won't keep me warm in the middle of the night. That don't impress me much. By this point, Ron had covered his ears and was loudly singing, la 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 la, to try to block out Ginny singing about her ex-boyfriend. While everyone was staring at Ron, Harry Potter slipped onto the stage next to Ginny, decked out in the same outfit, only with a leopard print vest on instead of a tube top. His pants hung low on his hips and left nothing to the imagination. His long jacket also had a hood, and he had up covering his forehead. I never knew a guy who carried a mirror in his pocket and a comb up his sleeve just in case. Harry sang the first two lines of his verse, and everyone turned to stare up at the stage, jaws dropping when they saw what he was wearing. Harry was gyrating his hips in time with the music. At this time, Ron actually screamed out loud like a little girl and looked on the verge of fainting. And all that extra whole gel in your hair ought to lock it, 'cause Merlin forbid it should fall out of place. Harry let his gaze travel across the hall and land on a set of gray eyes that did not look amused in the slightest. The eyes narrowed, and Harry decided that perhaps this was not the best idea to sing in the middle of the great hall. Oh, so you think you're something special. Oh, you think you're something else? Okay, you're Draco Malfoy. Harry let the silence in the hall grow until he continued with the next parts of his verse. That don't impress me much. You've got the looks, but you haven't got the touch. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I think you're all right. But that won't keep me warm in the middle of the night. That don't impress me much. A familiar blonde could be seen storming out of the Great Hall during the middle of Harry's last verse. Hermione was giggling while Ron kept whispering, "What?" over and over again to himself as he rocked back and forth on the bench. A new member joined Harry and Ginny on stage. A blonde girl glided her way onto the stage. Her gaze was slightly out of focus as she swayed back and forth dreamily. You're one of the guys who likes to ride his broom. You make me put on my gloves before you let me get on. I can't believe you kiss your Nimbus goodnight. Come on, baby, tell me. You must be joking, right? Luna sang as beautifully as she looked. She was wearing a completely different outfit from the other two. She had on a tight black sleeveless vinyl mini dress that stopped just shy of showing off everything, with a long white coat and a black top hat with a black lacy veil covering her face. She had on black silk gloves and fishnets with thigh-high black heeled vinyl boots. She wandered over to the Gryffindor table and stared at Cormac McLaggen. Oh, so you think you're something special? Oh, so you think you're something else? Okay, so you've got a broom. That doesn't impress me much. Luna swayed her way over to Ginny and Harry. Ginny, Harry, and Luna all sang the next chorus in unison. They harmonized surprisingly well. So you've got the moves, but you haven't got the touch. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I think you're all right. But that won't keep me warm in the middle of the night. That don't impress me much. Unknown to Harry, the girls had practiced a last verse. After the last line they sang, Harry turned to walk away, but the girls grabbed hold of his arms and kept him in place. Okay, so what? You think you're the chosen one or something? Whatever, that don't impress me much. The girls finished singing while Harry laughed, and the great hall burst into applause. Ron had fainted at some point without anyone realizing it. All three took a bow and walked off stage. Draco stormed up to Harry afterwards and slapped him, screaming about how he thought he had meant more to Harry than that, and how dare Harry humiliate him. His father would hear about this. Draco then stormed away, with Harry chasing after him, apologizing. Cormac slunk out of the great hall without anyone seeing so he could visit his brooms. Michael met up with Ginny and kissed her as she looked hot, even though she did just insult him through song. He didn't mind that. Ron was still unconscious, and Hermione was gushing over how well everyone did to Luna. The end. Those were some amazing outfit descriptions. And listen, Hogwarts Talent Show is one of my favorite things. I read so many Hogwarts Talent Show fics, just trying to find something that's good for the podcast. I've read so many of them because I want to read them all the time. They're all amazing like this, where it's just like, I'm going to get up and I'm going to sing a song to the person I like, and they're either going to be into it or they're not. Amazing. Thank you everyone for coming to our story time. We haven't had a story time in a while because there's a lot happening here in this world. So hypothetically, we'll do one tomorrow as well, or not tomorrow. What am I saying? Next weekend as well. We've got some stuff lined up. So hypothetically, next weekend, since I'm going to start planning it now, someone who's not me will do it. So you can see Kim or Colin next weekend, hopefully, doing a story time for you. Thank you for coming. I hope that you enjoyed these wonderful stories written by our amazing Fanatical fam. If you want to write something for story time and submit it, we're looking for 5,000 words or less. We're looking for something silly or wholesome. And you can email that to fanaticalfics@gmail.com. Thanks for coming. Bye. Goodbye. Bye, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye.